Have you ever come across a fan theory so bad that you instantly hoped it would never become canon? Well, K-pop Demon Hunters has plenty of those. Ever since the movie came out, fans have created hundreds of theories trying to explain the characters, their pasts, and what could happen next. While some are clever and believable, others are so strange that even the fandom wants them to stay far away from the official story. So today, let's look at some of the most hated K-pop Demon Hunters theories and why fans desperately hope they never come true. One of the weirdest theories claims that Mystery was originally a dog before making a deal with Gwi-Ma. Fans came up with this idea because Mystery behaves much more like a wild animal than the other Saja Boys. He rarely speaks, moves differently, and has obvious canine-like traits. But most fans think there's a much better explanation. Since Mystery has likely been a demon for much longer than the others, he may have slowly lost more of his humanity over the centuries, becoming more beast-like over time. That fits the story far better than the idea that Gwi-Ma somehow made a contract with an actual dog, especially since nothing in the movie suggests demons can even make deals with animals. Another theory that many fans dislike is that Baby wished for eternal youth. According to this theory, Baby only looks like he's in his 20s because of his deal with Gwi-Ma, while his real age could have been much older before becoming a demon. Some fans even joked that he could secretly have been an old man. The biggest problem with this theory is that it completely changes how fans view the character without adding anything meaningful to the story. Instead, many people prefer another theory that says Baby originally had a very childish voice and wished for the deep voice he has now after being bullied. It explains his name, fits his personality, and doesn't create unnecessary complications. Another popular theory suggests that Mira is secretly half demon, just like Rumi. The main evidence people use is simply her unusual hair color and appearance. However, that's where the evidence ends. Throughout the movie, Mira never displays any hidden demon powers or hints that she's hiding a secret identity. Most fans believe this theory is based entirely on visual design rather than actual storytelling, making it one of the weakest theories in the fandom. Some fans have also suggested that the other Saja Boys aren't really individuals anymore, but are instead empty shells or puppets controlled by Gwi-Ma. This theory tries to explain why Jinu seems much more emotional and developed than the others. While it's certainly possible that Gwi-Ma has some influence over them, most fans don't like the idea because it strips away the tragedy of their characters. The Saja Boys are much more interesting if they were once real people who slowly lost themselves over time, rather than being nothing more than mindless zombies with no personalities of their own. One theory that many fans strongly disagree with is the idea that Gwi-Ma manipulated Jinu's memories. According to this theory, Jinu may never have abandoned his family at all, and Gwi-Ma simply altered his memories to keep him loyal. While this would make Jinu less responsible for his past, it would also completely undermine his redemption arc. His journey is powerful because he genuinely made terrible choices, accepted responsibility for them, and ultimately sacrificed himself to make things right. If none of those mistakes were actually his fault, then his growth loses much of its emotional impact. Another controversial theory is that Jinu will eventually come back to life. Since he's one of the most popular characters in the movie, many fans naturally want to see him return. But surprisingly, a large part of the fandom hopes that never happen. Jinu's story already has a complete beginning, middle, and end. His sacrifice gave him redemption and provided a satisfying conclusion to his character arc. Bringing him back could lessen the emotional weight of that ending and shift attention away from developing new villains and giving characters like Mira and Zoe larger roles in future stories. And finally, there's the theory that almost everyone agrees should never become canon. Jinu is secretly Rumi's father. Some fans came up with this idea because Jinu is centuries old and Rumi is half demon, but the theory immediately falls apart when you remember that the movie clearly builds romantic tension between the two characters. Turning that relationship into a father-daughter connection would completely change the story in the worst possible way. Thankfully, the creators have already confirmed that this isn't true. They revealed that Rumi's father was another former human who became a demon, completely shutting down this theory once and for all. Outside of the story itself, there's one final idea that many fans hope never becomes reality: a live-action adaptation. Much of what makes K-pop Demon Hunters special is its unique animation style, expressive characters, and over-the-top action sequences. Fans often compare it to Spider-Verse, arguing that the animation isn't just a visual choice, it's a core part of the movie's identity. While a live-action remake could happen one day, many believe it would lose the charm that made the original so memorable. At the end of the day, fan theories are one of the most enjoyable parts of being in a fandom. They keep discussions alive and let fans imagine endless possibilities. But sometimes a theory sounds much better staying on Reddit than becoming official canon. Which of these theories do you dislike the most? And are there any other K-pop Demon Hunters theories you hope never become true? Let me know in the comments.